Yeah, you know what? I looked at some of the calls, and I thought they were questionable. If he's going to call those, he needs to call them both ways. But that happens in the game. The disallowed goal, I thought, was the wrong call from the standpoint of it's a hockey play and streets driving, and it doesn't push him to the net. He's trying to get to the net, and I think the puck was actually even in before the infraction happened that he thought was an infraction. So.
Coach, do you think that disallowed goal kind of changed momentum a little bit?
Well, I think the penalties changed momentum. I think that disallowed obviously didn't help. And then, in the third period, we had some breakdowns, and obviously Retto was deep in his net on a couple where they were able to capitalize.
I know this last couple of weeks, though, you guys have played really well. Does this kind of end the season off on a down note, or do you look back and say, okay, we really did something nice over here the last couple of weeks?
That's tough. That's a tough one. I'm extremely disappointed in how it played out the whole season. We played when it didn't mean anything. You want to be playing meaningful games at this time of the year, and that wasn't the case.
Manitoba's power play kind of lit y'all up this season. You seem to struggle with that. What is it about their power play that your penalty kill has struggled with?
Well, you know what? They have some mobile defensemen on the backside. They have some skilled guys up front, even though that might not show as much 5-on-5. They have guys that specialize in those areas, and I think when you look at the games we've had, your best penalty killer needs to be your goaltender, and then obviously the other four guys got to contribute, and there's no doubt we had some troubles against it.
What about the transition now this year, looking back over the season, and you guys here in San Antonio after 8 years in Cleveland? When you look back on this whole experience, what are your thoughts?
Well, it's a great move from the standpoint organizationally of working with the Spurs and having a similar setup that we had in Cleveland. I'm not going to lie, the move itself, not personally, but as a group and an organization, has had its challenges, of getting settled, getting familiar with everything, and hopefully by next year we're through all that. And what I mean by that is, you take for granted that you just pick up and go, and I think some of the players had an adjustment with it. I think the ice conditions at times were an adjustment. Our practice facility is being much improved at this point, and that'll be a huge asset going forward. We're really looking forward to that. And there's little things in the group that obviously we have to do better, and we're working on that.
It's been kind of streaky at home, obviously, the 12-game losing streak and then the recent win streak. What's the key to getting the home performance back up to where it should be?
Well, that's part of that familiarity I think I'm talking about. Now we'll have had a year under our belt. We said we weren't going to use the ice as an excuse. We weren't going to use certain things as an excuse, but at the end of the day, it became one. And, that's a challenge for me as a coach, and I have to keep the group focused and on the details and the little areas. And, there were lots of games where we were a young group, and it showed the immaturity of how we managed the games, managed the puck. And then there were other times where we looked like a veteran team of, how we moved forward.
How much say are you going to have in any, AHL deals that are made over the summer and bringing in maybe veteran players to kind of help the younger guys along?
Well, we talk all the time. That'll be assessment here at the end and going through the roster to see, obviously, contracts that are up and who we're obligated to coming back. And then, obviously, we want to fill it with some veteran guys. We want to surround our young guys with quality people and be able to, take that next step as a group.
Can you just talk for a second about what you see the future of the net binding situation looking like? You had a lot of goalies play pretty well here this year.
Well, that's tough because, if you drew it out on paper at the start of the year, we were going to have Calvin Pickard all year. And then with the injury to Retto up there and then the conditioning stints and then, with Spencer coming in and playing very well in certain stretches, it's definitely competitive in that area. Obviously, contracts come into play, so there's not a clear picture as of right now of what that'll be.